BioConnect, the software. So when you extract the folder, you pretty much have all these documentation, drivers, documents, where you actually could read how to install BioConnect. So you have the installation guide. So the installation guide will tell you exactly what is needed, the requirements, hardware requirements, installation process, quick enrollment process, installation troubleshooting, and even assistance in how to do a fingerprint enrollment guide. And this is the overall picture of how BioConnect will look at the end. Install the software, have the enrollment reader, and then you have the readers, which is connected to the control panel of the ACM via Wiegand, and then you have the access control software, which will then sync to the BioConnect software. And this is the requirement that's needed for BioConnect, whether you're installing the server version of the software or the client version. So for the server version, you basically require the minimum or the recommended. So you have the requirements, either minimum or recommended. I say go recommended at all times. It is what's basically needed, 30 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. And then also the features that's installed with BioConnect, RabbitMQ, Erlang OTP, and Net frameworks. And last but not least, definitely make sure you open all the ports for BioConnect. And this is the client recommendation, either minimum or recommended specs, which is what is installed on the client PC to remote back into the server. Continue to go through there. And we have the configuration guide, which basically explains BioConnect and how to use BioConnect. So to log into BioConnect is the default root level. It's case sensitive, so the capital E on Enter Tech, and the password is Bobcat. And then once you log in, you can navigate to either one of the options, either quick enrollment to enroll users, or user management and device management. So this is how each option look like if you have BioConnect 4.0 and above. This is 4.1. So feel free to definitely go through this configuration guide once you've extracted the installation folder. So let's go back. And then also for configuration purposes as well for other device, we have BioStar embedded into the installation package. So this is definitely an installation guide, and you can use the utility or the software to pretty much program a device into server mode to add it to BioConnect. So you can definitely you have two tools where you can definitely do this. And then of course for each device that BioConnect supports, they embedded or added the installation guide, as you can see here. Last but not least, a very important step that I think with all installation that we should take some detailed time in educating the end user on how to enroll a fingerprint. So what we look for is a core on the fingerprint. And you see the top view, how to properly place your finger. The tip has to hang off. And this is a side view. As you can see, the tip of your fingertip is coming off as well. And then tips for poor fingerprint condition, wet fingers, dry fingers, and stained fingers. So that's called the fingerprint. And this is how to install the BioMini if you're going to be using the BioMini to enroll fingerprints if you're not going to be using the device itself. Very simple. 1, 2, 3, how to install. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and install BioConnect. So before you install BioConnect, it will install the prerequisites in the setup wizard. So hit next. You see RabbitMQ, Erlang, Microsoft Visuals. If you don't have this current version, first option would be Erlang OTP. For all the components, I will select all, so even Microsoft DLL. Leave everything that's predefined and pre-checked, and then hit next. Here it's going to ask you to modify setup. You want to click repair, and then when the option comes up to ask you to reboot, please don't reboot. Just continue. Hit close and do not restart, and then installation will continue. Right, so now that Erlang OTP 19 setup is complete, you just hit close, and then the next prerequisite will pop up and ask you to select the components you want to install. So this would be RabbitMQ. So everything's already pre-selected for you. Just hit next. Alright, so now that RabbitMQ is finished, we can now move on to installing the actual BioConnect software. So you have two options to choose for BioConnect, which installation type. So you have the client. This will install the client only when connected to the server. The client is used to manage biometrics for users. Or you have the server install. This will install the server. The client would also be installed at the same time and is required for system maintenance purposes. So we're going to go with the server install. We'll hit next. Now once BioConnect has been installed, you can now launch BioConnect Setup Assistant. So at this point, BioConnect is fully installed, and you can always, at any given time, when dealing with BioConnect, come back to the Setup Assistant and realign the software, the ACM and BioConnect together if the sync has been broken, or if any changes have been made on the computer as a password change or the ACM password change, or if you want to move the database or backup and restore. You can always run the Setup Assistant. You're not reinstalling it, you're just realigning and reconfiguring the BioConnect for new management system if needed. Right, so this is the welcome screen, and then keep in mind there's 12 steps in total. So we're going to hit next to go to the next screen, which is the version updates. So the next, so this would be the license screen. So there's three different types of license for BioConnect. You have online, where you get an activation code when you purchase our devices from any of our distribution teams or companies. And then once you've received that, you would go to online, and if you know you have internet connection. If you don't have internet connection, you're going to be installing it on a server PC with no internet connection at all. Then you need to get an offline activation key from us before proceeding, and we will also need to know the MAC address of that PC that you're going to be installing that doesn't have internet. Or if this is a test run and you just want to test out BioConnect to see if it works or how it works, or just test it out, you can always do the trial version, which allows you to add one device permanently to BioConnect, and you can move forward with this without needing any information at all from us or anyone from BioConnect. So now this is asking you for your credential of the machine that you've logged into. And if you don't know what your credential is, you could definitely go to command prompt, type in who am I, and enter. So it says I'm logged in as Dwayne. If you hit the start menu, sometimes Dwayne can be case sensitive. So on the command prompt, it shows a lowercase d. But on my Windows machine here, it shows a capital D. So since it's case sensitive, I recommend using the capital E. Keep in mind, if you require the domain, then my domain, right, in this case would be Suprema UK PC2. But first, let's try with this domain alone. I believe my password is this. And hit login. Password, you will then see this screen. So I always recommend using a local administrator at this screen to bypass it. And if you know it for sure you're logged in with the local administrator or local system account that has full rights to the access to the database and your computer to run services, then you go ahead and click on use local. But I always recommend using a local administrator. So let's hit next. So now it's going to come to the installation type. So if this is your first time installing BioConnect, I recommend going in Express Setup, which allows you to install SQL Management SQL Server, and then also Management Studio, which is needed to do backup of BioConnect or create your own database. So in this case, I already have the latest version or close to the latest version of SQL. So therefore, I will do a custom setup. But like I said, if it's a brand new setup and you don't have SQL Server at all, then definitely click on Express Setup. So here for the custom setup is asking me for the location of where my database is. So by default, it goes localhost and BioConnect. But we could verify before we continue if that's correct. So therefore, we could copy this path. So if we come back and change this path to the one present, all right, and then we could just change it to a name that's not available right now. So I have a BioConnect 2017. So since it's 2018, let's go BioConnect 2018. And then we can hit create. And then we could test to connect to that database. So we were successful in creating a database. If you want to double check that it's there, go back to SQL Management Studio, connect to your data server path, go to databases, and you can see 2008 is there. And for security, you can check and see if your login user, which is Dwayne here, has access to that database as a DB owner. So we go to properties, user mapping, and you see 2018, he is a DB owner. Also, you can try if you have rights to make these changes. You can go to server role and make dwade a sysadmin. Okay. And now I'm able to do so. You can also go to the NT system as well. Go to properties, user, right? So DB owner, that's okay. Right, so now that we've created a database, tested it, and update, we can now move forward in the installation guide. So at this point here, you can leave everything as default if you're not doing anything special in the system or changing any system settings at all. Because we're doing the test with Paxton Net2, keep in mind you have a list of a bunch of different access control systems. So you're going to pick the one that's applicable to you. So you have ACT, AMAG Symmetry, so the name of the ACM and then the software that they use. So Vigilant, which is Access Control Management. ACT is ACT Manage, AMAG Symmetry, Access A1001, and Brevo, which is On-Site On Air, Wireless Manager, Honeywell ProWatch, Honeywell WinPack, Cantech, Keyscan, Lenel, ACOM. Then you also have RS2, S2, Software House, Secure, and of course we're going to be using Paxton, which is Net2. So if we hit next, Paxton requires an operator and a password, right? So if you don't know what this information is, And you could definitely pause at this screen and open Net2. I believe you could use System Engineer on this screen here, but I'd rather use OEM client because no one uses that profile, and then also the password never change. So therefore, down the road, if the user changes the password, you don't have to worry about breaking this thing. So if you go to Net2 operators, which is what BioConnect is asking for right now. So you have System Engineer, which you could use, or OEM client, which is case sensitive. So we're going to change OEM client. The password I'm going to make is Bobcat, capital B. All right, so let's go over here, OEM client, password Bobcat. Test and see if we can log in. We were successful. We hit save, and then hit next. Go to the next screen. So as you see, if you currently have other services running, for instance, BioStar or BioStar 2, you got to stop all those services to avoid changing this port to something else. So if we go here and open BioStar 1.92, we can see this is the one that's causing issues. And then we can go back, hit save, move forward, and you see we still have issues with the port. So if you have also BioStar 2 installed, you'll need to stop the services for that as well. Now we move back one, hit save, and then push forward. And as you see, there'll be no conflict anymore. So we can then move forward and hit next. This is a server machine, and if you wanted to connect any clients to this machine, then you need to pretty much set up and open the port 5672, and then also input the actual server address. So if you don't know the server address, you'd want to do IP config. My server address is 192.168.0.100. So then I would put that IP address in this path right here. Okay, so after you hit test RabbitMQ, installation guide will then install RabbitMQ, and then when you hit start, it's going to make an attempt to start all the BioConnect services. In this case sensitive. Printing. And if you don't see any users, you just basically go to the menu, synchronize users. You can sometimes push the date back to 1900, January 1st. Hit start. And all the users will basically come through on BioConnect. So remember that one user I had at the beginning that had credential 1. So let's go to Paxton real quickly and create a new user to show you how instantly the sync happens. New user, let's say Tanvir, last name Ali, give him a token number of 2, add, close, Tanvir's right there. Let's give him permissions. Apply, and come back to user management. Hit the sync button here. Instantly that user comes over. Right, and if a user has no active bar on their name, like these two users, that's simply because they have no token number. So if you go new token, add a 3, press OK, hit apply, and sync, instantly become active. Great, and that's how you basically would install BioConnect.